Did you know that thousands of people from Asia are facing deportation from the US in 2025? But why are these countries topping the list? And what's really behind these sudden deportation plans? Stay tuned, because what we're about to reveal could change your entire perspective on immigration. Let's dive into the shocking truth. 1. India, the crackdown on fraud. Let's start with India. In 2025, visa fraud and overstays are skyrocketing. India has one of the largest immigrant populations in the US, but some are misusing the system. Fake universities, fake job offers. It's a serious problem, and the US government is cracking down like never before. The crackdown isn't just hurting fraudsters. Genuine students and workers are getting swept up in the storm. Imagine this. A person comes to the US to study, only to end up in a sham university that doesn't even offer real education. What happens when they're caught? Deportation. But there's more. Even those on legitimate work visas are being scrutinized. Is the US cracking down too hard? Could this mean more people will be deported even for the smallest infractions? And what about the families left behind when these individuals are sent home? The emotional toll is huge. Could this crackdown destroy people's lives overnight? 2. Philippines, the dark side of immigration visa, overstays and undocumented work are hitting hard. But here's the kicker. Many Filipinos enter legally, then overstay to support their families back home. It's a desperate situation, but what happens when the law catches up? Some Filipinos are also victims of scams. Illegal recruiters promise them legal jobs, but leave them stranded without proper documents. And in 2025, with stricter US immigration laws, Filipinos are terrified, not just of deportation, but of being cut off from their families. What can be done to protect these hardworking people? Could the fear of deportation force more Filipinos to live in the shadows? And what does this mean for the millions of Filipinos who depend on remittances from their loved ones working in the US? Could this even cause economic distress in the Philippines? 3. China, visa fraud and tighter restrictions. Visa overstays and fraud are fueling the rise in deportations here. Thousands of Chinese nationals enter the US for education, tourism, or work. But while most follow the rules, some try to take shortcuts with fake documents or enrolling in sham universities that only exist to help people enter the US. And it doesn't stop there. Once the fraud is discovered, it leads to one thing: deportation. What's even more shocking? The US has been delaying deportation processing, making the whole situation worse. Now, the big question: could this put more strain on US-China relations? What does this mean for Chinese families and students who've been living in the US for years? Are these deportations a necessary step to protect the integrity of the immigration system, or are they unfairly hurting people who just want a better life? 4. Mongolia, the dangers of overstaying visas. Mongolia's situation is getting worse. Visa fraud and overstaying visas are the major reasons behind the rising deportation numbers. But why do Mongolians risk staying longer than they're allowed? The answer is simple: the hope for a better life. Many enter legally, but the problem is they don't leave when their visas expire. Why? They find jobs, build lives, and just don't want to leave. But this illegal stay leads to deportation, and it's becoming a bigger issue. Here's the twist. Mongolia's slow cooperation in deportation cases is adding fuel to the fire. Delays in processing are creating a chaotic situation for those trying to get back home. Could this create even more tension with the US? And what about the emotional toll on families? Let's find out. Could Mongolia do more to help its citizens stay within the law, or will they continue to face this deportation crisis? 5. Vietnam, a shocking trend. In 2025, deportations from the US to Vietnam are climbing. But why? Visa overstays are the major culprit. People come to the US to study or work, but end up staying longer than permitted. Why would they risk it? Many are seeking better job opportunities, but here's the kicker. Limited job options in Vietnam make the US seem like the only place to go. But when people stay illegally, they're breaking the law. And when they get caught, deportation is almost a certainty. What's even worse, the Vietnamese government is slow to accept deported people back, and that delays the entire process. Could this slow pace encourage more people to stay illegally? And what about the families left behind when someone is deported? The emotional cost is huge. Is there a way to balance better job opportunities in Vietnam with the need to follow US immigration laws? 6. Malaysia. Visa fraud and illegal work. Malaysia's deportation rate from the US is rising fast. But what's causing this? It's a mix of illegal work and visa fraud. Malaysians come to the US hoping for a better life, but many end up working without the proper documentation. And the consequences are serious. Why would anyone risk it? Often it's because they're trying to support families back home or simply survive in a new country. But the risk is high. Working without a legal visa leads to deportation, and that's a hard pill to swallow. Here's the twist. Malaysia's delayed paperwork is making things even worse. US officials say that the long delays in processing deportations are causing even more problems. What impact is this having on families and communities in both countries? Can Malaysia improve its visa process to help prevent deportations? Will cooperation between the US and Malaysia improve in the near future? 7. Nepal, the struggle for legal status. Finally, let's take a look at Nepal. Illegal border crossings and visa overstays are causing a spike in deportations from the US. Nepalese nationals are desperately seeking better opportunities in the US, but often the only way in is to stay illegally. Many Nepalese face long wait times for their visa renewals, and some end up overstaying their visas when they can't afford to leave. But now, the US is tightening immigration policies, making deportation a real threat for those who fail to follow the rules. Could this situation hurt Nepal's economy? The fear of deportation is real, especially since many families depend on remittances from their relatives in the US. Could Nepal improve its systems to avoid further deportations? Will the US and Nepal find a way to balance the dreams of their people with the need to follow immigration laws? As we've seen, the issue of US deportations affecting Asian countries in 2025 is far more complex than it might first appear. These deportations have wide-reaching impacts, affecting families, careers, and entire communities. Whether it's visa fraud, overstays, or slow deportation processes, the consequences are undeniable and emotional. So, what can be done? Will stricter immigration laws continue to divide families and hinder opportunities for millions? Or can these countries and the US find a way to balance fairness, security, and compassion for those seeking better lives? The future of immigration is uncertain, but one thing is clear. The decisions made today will shape the lives of so many tomorrow. Will the policies change, or will the deportations continue to rise? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, we'll be right here, bringing you the latest updates and uncovering the truths behind these stories. Remember, if you found this information valuable, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on this critical topic. Share this video with anyone who needs to understand the real impact of immigration policies and join the conversation. Until next time, stay informed and stay engaged.